Oh, that's hot. Oh, that's hot.
Hey everybody, welcome. As you guys come in, welcome to Nothing's Wrong podcast. I'm your host, Isabel.
And I'm Catherine. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the share, and make sure you follow our social medias. We're following anybody who's following us. So go ahead and make sure you first just tune on here and hit all the notification buttons as well.
Yes, show us some love. Like the video as you guys are coming in. We appreciate all the likes. Make sure to drop a comment, say what's up, let us know that you're here, and we can get this conversation started because it is something very deep. And if you was here with us last week, you already know we kind of touched upon some of this before. But yeah, we're going to get into it this evening. So before we do, we just want to make sure that you guys are hitting the like. I see a couple of you guys in here, so make sure you're liking. Don't just be watching. Just it costs nothing to like. So just hit the like for us and we can get started. So how you doing, Kat?
I'm doing very well, Miss Isabel. How are you? How's your evening going?
Pretty good. Thank you for the like. Okay. I see you
Oh,
guys are
okay. Y'all
following
listening?
the rules.
You're
So
following the
y'all are
instructions?
listening. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um
We got
ma-
some good stuff to talk about. I mean, last week we got into a lot of discussion about the American Black culture and the dating. We also blame parents. So I feel like a lot of our topic tonight is going back to that, especially on that form. It's,
yeah.
I would
It's
love
really
to hear.
interesting.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, I just think it's really interesting, just like the time that we're in, like all of the news that's been breaking about pregnancies. I mean, the biggest one that broke being Rihanna and the guy she's with having a baby, and kind of like, you know, I don't know the rumors as to what we know right now. Some people
Yeah.
are even saying that they may be married already, but for what we know right now, even Rihanna's a baby mama. So this baby mama culture, I mean, we all know like there are different artists, but someone as big as Rihanna basically becoming a baby mama, this is just very interesting because we do have some information, a clip of a documentary from a couple of years ago that we do want to share.
Yeah.
Um,
Before we get into that, go ahead with the comment.
yeah. Hey Marcello, good to see you. He said no, they're not married. Yeah, we know. They are my friends list. Okay, yeah. So we're not saying, I don't know if they're married. I don't know about any of that, but I know there was rumors that they might have like got hitched a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, we don't know that. So we're just going to go by what we as the public know and saying that Rihanna just joined the baby mama club. So
That's horrible. Speaking of more baby mamas and celebrities, Nick Cannon just got somebody pregnant after he had multiple kids, just lost one recently.
yeah,
And
the woman who Nick Cannon just got pregnant, she was already his baby mama before.
oh, okay, then that's interesting. And that's not okay.
Still a baby mama. Marcello says at least she got a baby. Okay.
I mean, long time ago, I think the industry has like everybody who loved Rihanna, they were always asking her, when is she gonna get pregnant? When is she gonna have her child? Because everybody kept assuming that she was pregnant during times, and so and then now
Right.
she's pregnant.
Right.
And I overheard that she's waiting before she. This is just probably a rumor as well. That she's waiting until she has her baby, and then her and ASAP will go ahead and get married up in Barbados.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
don't know what the story is,
she's
but she's
pretty
still a baby
far
mama.
along. She's pretty far along in her pregnancy. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, whatever it is, obviously Rihanna can do what she wants, but it's more about the message, I think. Marcella said, I knew a long time ago. Yeah, a lot of people speculated a long time ago. Even people thought that they had already announced it a while ago. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but I think it's more about the message that is being pushed right now, especially for women, is kind of like this weird thing of like being Uh, Jeff says, I have about 45 notifications I couldn't get to today. Do I have a baby mama? I don't know. I don't know.
It's baby
You're gonna
mama
have
season.
to ask, the people that you probably could have impregnated that. But it is seems to be baby mama seasoning. But what I was gonna say is, because it's I mean, it's always been here, correct? Like baby mamas have been a
Yes.
thing for a while now, but now even more so, it's somewhat being promoted. Now it's not even like just a thing that happens to a certain group of people. Now it's even the what we quote unquote would call the elites. You have the Kylie Jenners, you have the Chloes, you have just the Kardashians except Kim, and now Rihanna, which is a big force in the industry. And it's
Hmm.
kind of like just more so promoting this idea of being a baby mama instead of really having um, being a wife or being a family, a real family. I mean, what do you think? Do you think baby mamas, like say if you have a boyfriend and you guys have a baby, do you think that that is considered a family?
In the mind of the people who just don't have a mindset
In your
of maybe
mind.
that,
I'm talking
in
about in
my
your mind.
mind, I don't think that is a family. I think it's just we're playing house. We're not really
Right.
creating a family. It's not a real partnership. Um you don't believe that we could be a union. You know what I mean? Because if you did, you would take the time to be serious and dedicate us to be a real family legally, because we live in a world where everything comes with paperwork. And so this is a capitalist society. So you definitely need somebody by your side that would gain you more credit. There's a lot of benefits that come with marriage. And so if a person doesn't think that is necessary, um, then they're in their own delusion. Because there's a lot of people who are woke and they don't believe in marriage, but they believe in like a union, which doesn't take that, the government needs to be involved in this, partnership. But then also, I'm thinking realistically, like, we live in a world where we kind of need that, unless we're sovereign and we're making this much money and we're already doing this and that. Then okay, maybe you can brainwash me to thinking that's okay. But for me, I think marriage is important, especially if you want to bring a child in the world. Just dedicates
Right.
the time for the parent, as both parents, that even before pregnancy, but just knowing that you believe that we can be together forever, that we can handle things together. It's just a legal partnership that
Right.
that
Right. King says, baby mom, laugh out loud. Good morning. Good morning, King. Thank you for
Good
being
morning.
here as always. Ibrahim said, hey, beautiful ladies. Hey, thank you
Hi,
for
mama.
being here. Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree. I do want to get into with this video that we have here, and I just want to
Perfect.
show a clip of it. And I want to show you guys this first, and then I want to get a little some
Like
of you
cut it
guys'
off.
opinion in the comments, and then yeah, we could talk about it a little more. So I'm going to put this in since you guys are in here and I see you guys are liking. So thank you so much for supporting, and let's get into this. Yeah. Okay. Let me know if you can hear.
Raise your hand if you're
Yeah.
married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that. You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments. I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent. But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man? Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so it really male figures are not substantially important in the family. I ain't thinking about holding up for no sex, my man. You know, if a girl, she get having a baby, carrying a baby, hey, that's on her. You know, I'm not gonna stop my pleasures because of another woman. What about?
So, okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, so I wanted to stop it there. In the beginning, we seen that this is from 1986, people.
So I calculated, so these parents are currently 52 years old right now.
Well, probably older, right? Because what age did you start them at?
15. I think 15, 16.
So they're in their 50s now, right?
Yeah.
So that's the generation, a couple I don't know about the, Z generation X and stuff like that. I don't know about those, what you call it, but it's the generation a little like before the millennials, that generation. So I think it's really interesting because obviously these women, when the guy asked, he asked, which one of you ladies are married? Because they all had children and they all said like none of them were married. And then he asked, which one of you guys would like to be married to the father of your children? And only one of them rose their hand, which I found like really interesting. Now, I'm not saying, and then, well, whatever. Okay, so then I'll go back to explain a little more. And then he asked one of the girls why she would not want to be married to the father of her children. And her explanation was because it's too much of a commitment. It's too much of, she wouldn't want a man holding her down. What, before I could go on, what do you think about that?
Well, she actually said, basically what she had said is that she already has a child, and to think about a whole family, that would just be, that's too much of a commitment and a responsibility that she couldn't handle. Right. So, mind you, right? She said that if she's married, that it would be like, too much of a responsibility and a commitment. Is she speaking about herself, or is she speaking about that's how the man feels? And she's using that as her response.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of those girls, and one of the ones you said that had said that she would like to be married to her baby's father, like all of them feel that way. But because of the generation, like one of the girls said that she didn't have a father, so in their mindset, they're like, well, my mom did it by herself, so I could do it by myself, and it's all right. I don't need him. But I really just feel like,
and that's
they all look like they were all having sex, to be honest. Only because, when you have a baby and you're young, and it's like, now I didn't know you had sex before. Now I know you have sex.
Well, obviously. Right.
No, it's just the image look that makes
but
them.
The interesting about it is that you can see that these girls aren't really intelligent, right? You could see like the converse, what they were saying was the reasoning is like, but you did something. I don't know why people think, And I don't know if this is true, but I don't know why certain people think, let me say that, it's more easier to have someone's baby than it is to be married to them, when it's actually more difficult to have someone's baby than to be married to them. Because if you're married to somebody and say it doesn't work out, you can get I'll go to the thing. But if you get what was I gonna say? Because I'm reading the comments, so let me just get. He kind of threw me off. If a couple is getting married for the baby, it will not be good for the baby, right? Because the couple should have never
100%.
had the baby before they got married. See, that's the thing. I think people tend to think like in the moment, and really it's just irresponsible usually of the guy. I mean, at the end of the video, it showed like the guy's like, I don't want to have no baby, but if we kept going on, he would tell you that he's more than willing to, dump his seed inside of a woman. So it's like, I think a lot of couples who aren't really couples, people just get caught up in the moment and are irresponsible with their sex, and they end up making permanent decisions with people that they shouldn't even be making permanent decisions with. And that's where it ends up that, we're getting married for the baby. It's like, or you should have never had a baby. So if your reasoning to get married to somebody is because of a baby, then you should have never had a baby with them, because someone should want to, like, even if it's like, oh, well, we're pregnant, we're going to do it now, but I already planned on doing it, then that's fine. But if you are like, oh, I actually wasn't that and let's be honest, these days, guys are not getting married to women just because they're pregnant. I mean, and that's been going on.
Yeah.
Ipadem says those girls don't know what they want. They're crazy. Exactly. It's but go ahead.
Well, another thing that I feel like the resolution to all of this for these guys is to pull out. I mean, I know they have like a strong sex drive. That's why they have multiple kids, the baby fathers or the father of people's children.
It's
that
really
doesn't
just
want to take
irresponsibility.
Yeah. They don't want to take the responsibility. You ever seen that
Right.
meme on with the little kid's voice with the responsibility or whatever? It's like they
Right.
don't want to take that responsibility. They have fun with these girls. They make it seem like, and then the thing, if we continue the video, like, the guy asks him, do you love
Let's
him
go.
and stuff like that. These people love these guys. For what? Sex?
What about birth control? What about condoms?
Girls don't like them things. They don't like them things. They'll tell you to take them things off. They'll figure
He
that
don't
you
like those
saying that they
things.
filthy or they dirty or something.
It's been a startling
pause.
change in values.
He said that girls don't like those things because if you use the condom, the girl's going to feel like you think that she's dirty.
No, that is what he's saying. See, this is how sometimes men will switch it on to the woman and make her responsible. And then in the beginning, you already heard him said, I'm not trying to have no baby, but you're the one who's responsible for impregnating a woman. So a woman can't impregnate herself. So obviously, if you don't want to have a baby, who cares if she don't like it? You know you don't want to have a baby. Jeff says a few weeks ago, a teenage mother threw a baby in the trash. I don't know if you girls are old enough to know the song Brenda's Got a Baby, but that continues to happen every year. Yes, I remember Brenda's had a baby by Tupac. And the reality of it is because, again, we're having irresponsible men impregnating women they should not be impregnating or really be sleeping with.
Or even speaking to.
And the reality of it, because it's like you can't 100% blame a teenage girl. Like I always say, like that's the most ridiculous thing to do is throwing babies in the trash when you could literally bring the baby to a police office, police station, a fire station, a hospital, and walk away, and everything is going to be perfectly fine. You could walk away, nobody's going to care. So people who are still throwing babies in the trash, like
they're murderers.
Yeah, they obviously need to go to jail. They need to be put away because clearly It's like you don't even need to do that anymore. There's literally a place you could drop it off at a church. Like you could just,
you know how many
here you
people
go,
need children,
drop it
that
off at
can't even
somebody else's
conceive it?
house. Just
Right.
go into somebody's neighborhood and leave the baby on the doorstep and drop it out. Like do something, but don't throw the baby in the trash. That's so weird. Go ahead. Kat.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know how many people want to have children and you're over here throwing them away when there's somebody who's crying because she couldn't have a child. So it's
Right.
just disrespectful. And you, like you said, leaving it at a random person's door, you know, you don't know if that person really wanted to have a child too. Like, you know,
Right.
whatever.
King says there are more challenges and difficulties when you have a baby mama, which might even lead to you to an early grave. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's so much challenges having a baby mother, and that's what I want men to realize. And I want to know from the guys here, like, is it like something, I don't know, is it somewhat kind of cool for men to say, oh, my baby mama, that's my baby mama, or my baby mama crazy, or something like that? Like, I'm like, why do men, because women can't impregnate themselves. It's men creating baby mamas. And it's like, why are men creating baby mamas? Like, what's the reason?
Well, I have a story on behind that. I met a guy who actually just had a baby about 2 years ago, actually, and he was messing with this girl and, you know, stopped messing with her. Next thing you know, she contacts him and said she gave birth to a little baby boy. So sometimes, like, you know, the man doesn't even know that a baby's created. So until, like, you know, the woman didn't even give him the choice of, like, hey, you know, I'm pregnant. The choice is the woman once she's conceived, right? Correct? So she can make the choice if she wants to keep it or not, or tell him or not. So it goes on both ends, but, you know, men are responsible for impregnating women, and women are responsible of making the decision if she wants to move forward with the pregnancy. So
right. And I think it's also like for women, I understand, like, you know, if you are, I just feel like it's just so, it's wrong for the child, you know, because I think putting a child, especially if you're not prepared and you don't have like finance, it's more than finances. You need, there's a reason why the mother and the father, like, I don't know about everybody's knowledge on ancient religions and stuff like that, or you can even take it before there was the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It was the mother, the father, and the child. And that union of having a mother and a father is very important for the growth of the child, because that child needs both the influences of the people it's made out of. So it needs that father present there, and it needs that mother present there, and then it also needs them to engage with each other in a way that it can actually learn interaction and how to be like in collaboration with someone. So when we take that away from the children, it's the children who suffer. And I think we try to modernize it and say, well, you know, women can do this and we don't need a man. And like that woman said, that girl said in the video, like, I don't need a man, and I didn't have a father, and kind of hold on one second. But go ahead.
Well, to go with her point of view on that, is just like, these people really think that not having a man in your life to support you and to help you out when, like, you know, you need a break sometimes. And I think with these women, what they run to is the government, because once you continue the video, you'll see that they replaced the man with the government. That's you know, now they're, you know, the person they deal with their child.
Right. And it just keeps on going. So let's just put a little more of this clip up, and let's just keep on going.
25 years ago, you would not have heard such things said so freely because they were not embraced so widely. The strong family was still the backbone of Black America, and 3 out of 4 children had both parents at home. That is true no longer. Most Black children are now growing up without their fathers. The result is a world turned upside down as children copy what they see and repeat what they learn. LaDawn said she didn't have a father in her home and doesn't think her children need one. She's not unusual. Half the black families today are headed only by a woman. Clorinda said she could make it on her own as a single parent. She has never been married and is raising her daughter without a man's help. She's not unusual. Today, nearly 60% of all black children are born out of wedlock. Timothy said his children are not his responsibility. He has left them to be supported by their mothers and welfare. He's not unusual either. For LaDawn and Clorinda and Timothy, and many more like them in cities all over America, the traditional family no longer exists. It has vanished, and something new is taking its place. Single women and the children they're rearing alone are the fastest growing part of the black population. What becomes of the black family in a world where the values are being turned upside down?
If the parent is 17 and 18, uneducated, unmotivated, fooling around, wandering around, what's the child going to learn? Who's to teach them? When you learn something, you was taught by your parents. It was reinforced by school and your neighbors, but it was taught by your parents. Well, if the parents don't know anything, how are they going to teach the children? So it's not racism that I'm fighting right now. It's the lack of motivation. See, I'm not even talking about racism. Maybe later on we'll get back to that. But I think we are destroying ourselves.
So I think
this is still till this day.
And that's, yeah, it's the
story.
same story, and it keeps on happening over and over and over again. And I think that she said, like, the biggest thing, it's like, it's not even about racism. It's about the fact that we're destroying ourselves by these mistakes. And I mean, just to hear him say, like, his kids is not his responsibility. Excuse me?
Disgusting.
Excuse me?
And I don't know how, like, women could allow him to continue to, like, give him more children.
And
this guy's not smart. Well, they're not smart. They're not, like the woman said, like, if the parent isn't teaching them, so how are they supposed to learn if the parent doesn't know anything? This is the cycle that continues with those kind of families. Is like, no one's teaching nobody nothing. And then they'll come back and it's like, oh, I told you. And it's like, when did you tell me? You didn't tell me a thing, you know? And so I just, you know, this is why the other races and the other colors have looked at the black community and, you know, probably felt bad for the black woman, because this is what they accept. And it's just like, when are black women going to stop giving black men babies,
access to their wombs, without commitment? And I think
with real commitment.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And I think that's the truth. It's kind of like we've been sold the idea that as long as he wants to have a baby with you, then that's some type of love that he has for you. And then the reality of it is they don't take responsibility. And it's like, and the responsibility is not necessarily like, oh, well, you have to marry me or anything like that. But how about not giving me a baby? And if you already did give me a baby, then support me 100% with that baby. Make sure that you're, you know, around, and make sure that you know, live close by, and that you're working and providing for that child and providing for me, because I'm the responsible. You have to provide. That's the thing. If you don't want to marry the woman, you still have to provide for her.
Well, let's
you have to provide for her and the child. It's
of
not
course.
just the child, it's her too, because
you know
she is out of commission because of you.
Exactly. And I'm happy that you said that. She is out of commission. She's taken the time to figure out how to raise this child alone. The least you can do is support her, make sure she has a roof over her head because of your child. So no matter if you care about her, you don't care about her, you care about your child. That should be the person you care about. So you want to make sure that they have somewhere to sleep, they got something to eat in the house, they got clothes to wear, they go into a good school. Like, everything is aligned for them. I mean, even if you don't got it together, you still have to figure out a way to get it together. you know, move them
It's not,
somewhere where
there's always something that you can do. And I feel as though like it's a cop out if a guy doesn't do everything in his power to make sure
this
that he's
guy that
providing
you're playing, yeah.
for his child and the child's mother, because I think that it's important, because it's like, hey, you know, I didn't want to have this baby, but you know, I did it anyways. It's still your responsibility, because it's you who impregnates the woman. It's not, it's like you have to take the responsibility for your penis. At the end of the day, that's just how the tables turn. Like if you make a mistake like that, you're gonna have to deal with that for the rest of your life, and you got to take on that burden, because she has to take on that burden. And it's not about blaming the woman. I know somebody had said it before. It's like, why are we blaming women, the parent that stayed, for the reason why that this child is here, when we should be blaming the father who even impregnated the woman, because a woman can't impregnate herself. So it's his responsibility, and he needs to take full responsibility. And this whole thing about like, you know, oh, well, it's, you know, I'm having kids, and say it's, you know, it's a baby mama situation where you're still in the relationship with the person. And it's like, if you're in a relationship with him and you guys are having kids, why aren't you married? What's
Because you guys
stopping you
believe
from
it. Yeah.
marriage?
I mean, you guys
Because
already believe in
if
one
you're
another.
already in a relationship, you're already living together, you already have a child, why would you not get the paperwork to make sure that you're protected, that
You're
he's
gonna
protected,
hear,
that the child's
right,
protected?
right. So the funny thing is, like, if you continue the video, are we done with this one, or are you gonna continue?
No, we can keep going. If
Yeah, because
you
he's
gotta,
gonna also ask him, like, why didn't you marry any of these women? And I would love for everybody to hear his response.
okay.
I don't know
Is it
how
coming
far.
up?
I'm not quite sure. It might. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll look for it.
But some of these guys who are in that situation, they have like some interesting excuses what they give to the baby mama of the reason why they're not getting married right now. Like, we're gonna get married. Like, say if a woman does want to be married to him, he's like, oh, we're gonna definitely get married. You know, I'm trying to get things in order. Like, you know, and as soon as I put some money together, you know, this is what I want. This is what we're gonna get, and this is, and at the end of the day, who cares? Like, a wedding is not for the people. I know people want to throw extravaganza, big, beautiful weddings, but at the end of the day,
I
it
know
doesn't really
really
matter.
wealthy
Like,
people.
you can
I
go to
know,
the courthouse
right. I know
and make
really
it
wealthy people. I know really wealthy people. When I ask them about like, oh, like when did you guys get married? They're like, oh, we just went to the courthouse. We just, because we
right,
just wanted to be married, so we just did it nice and fast,
because
and
it's not
you know,
about
and
all of that.
it wasn't a big deal for us. Like, it's not thing. So that thing with excuses, come on, let's not.
Right.
Okay, so let's do this.
Family in another city. Timothy has a talent for drawing, which he has never developed. He dropped out of high school at 16 and spent 2 years in the Job Corps. He was 23 when he and Alice had their first child. Timothy does not support any of his children.
How many children do you have?
6.
What?
He fathered those
And
6
he
children by 4 women. He also had 2 more children by 2 other women, but one died in infancy and the other was aborted. We asked him about the birth of his first surviving child.
It's kind of a funny experience because, like, me and the girl was just messing around, right? And she was going with somebody else. She used to be an old girlfriend of mine. She managed to get popular by me.
Okay, that's the second baby. The third was
Mustafa. He was the third.
that was by another lady.
Mrs. Ward. Yes, I go see him every now and then.
How old is he now?
He's 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Don't
5
even
or
know
4
his kids is.
And then the fourth one was
Disgusting.
Shimon. I only saw her twice. 2 times.
what happened to her?
It's a family problem. You know, the father don't want me to see the mother and all that. You know, so I got tired of running behind her and found me someone else. I didn't have to sweat it because I guess the father was taking care of them anyway. So
How does it feel to have those
women,
no kids?
kids. Well, you get to see. If it ain't one thing you've done, you like artwork, for instance. You look at your art, you say, this is something that I've done. Just like the cop did, something that you've done. You can see what you've done. If anything, if you don't do nothing, you can see something, what your life was,
What?
it was to you.
So the kids are sort of artwork?
Well, not really, but you can, like they might grow up to be a doctor.
These guys be saying a
just
whole
be-
bunch of nothing.
This is what I'm telling
What?
you. And these
Your
women
kids are
believe that.
artwork?
And these women sit there and believe him. Let me say another thing. First of all, he didn't even put his kids first. He said, who? These women or which one?
Right.
We talking about them kids.
We talking about your
We
children,
don't care about the
sir.
women. And now you're telling me they like artwork, and that you look at them and you don't even have to be with them. And the other one, and then he used that
something
excuse
that
that one of his baby mama's the father's taking care of the kid now and won't let him see him. They don't even fight for it. You know how many fathers would be like, no, get out of here, I don't want you here, but you come every day with things that the child needs, money, everything. Told them you got a job, you getting it together. I just bought them an apartment so that they can go live here. You know how many people who take their family seriously, that they don't care who's trying to stop them. They're just making every effort to make sure that they're involved in their child's life. This is what a lot of these Black men do, especially in this time frame. They give up.
It's still happening.
Of course it's still happening, but I'm going off what we're watching. Just sad. And these women really believe every single word that he says, because he can go smash all his baby mamas if he wanted to.
Right.
Disgusting.
Actors, and you can say, look, that's my boy, or that's my girl, But there's some people that can't have children at all.
Their mothers raised Timothy's children.
What is he talking
doctors
about?
or done you like artwork, for instance. You look at your art, you say, this is something that I've done. Just like the cop did, something that you've done. You can see what you've done. If anything, if you don't do nothing, you can see something, what your life was, it was.
So he basically said that because he ain't doing nothing, his kids will do something because he ain't gonna do nothing.
Right.
Okay, so I
this
just
guy
want to clarify
is not an
that.
educated kid.
But listen to this. Let's keep going. Yeah.
So the kids are sort of artwork?
Well, not really, but you can, like they might grow up to be doctors or actors, and you can say, look, that's my boy, or that's my girl, But there's some people that can't have children at all.
Wait, so he's basically, and there's so many parents that do this. He's saying, I'm not going to raise you. I'm not going to be there for you. But if you become something, I'm going to say, that's my boy. That's my thing. How many people do that? How many people do that? Great example. Look at Drake's dad.
That's what I was just about to say, girl.
Look at all of these people. Drake's dad is great. They pop up once their child is somebody. Look at my baby. Look at that. You are a surrogate.
Look at also Meghan Markle's father.
Right.
Maybe putting her down, but still talking about that's my daughter, talking all the trash, all so he can get all the publicity, and just sad.
Right.
Their mothers raised Timothy's children.
He hangs out with them now and then so that he can smash her. He's only being there for a little bit, so he got somewhere to sleep, got somewhere to eat. Now they on TV right now because user.
Right.
For them. On the first day of each month at noon, the mothers gather outside the project's mailroom, waiting for the postman to deliver their checks.
Oh, we call it Mother's Day.
Why?
Because us mothers be getting our check that day, getting their welfare check, so we call it Mother's Day.
Alice's welfare check comes to $385 a month. She cashes it at the corner store.
Back in town now.
She gets another $112 in food stamps.
I don't think I would have had the second two children if I didn't think welfare was there. I don't like welfare because it makes me lazy.
It does?
Yeah, it makes you lazy just to sit around and wait for a monthly check to come in. You know, I just like to work. I like money to come in every week or every 2 weeks.
Why doesn't Timothy help you take care of those kids?
One thing I do know about Timothy, that if he did have a job, I know he would take care of me and the children and the bills. But what's holding him back, well, this is what he tells me all the time. He figure I'm going to be with another guy, or I'm going to slip away from him while he at work.
Oh.
That don't make no sense to me.
Don't you get mad sometimes?
I get mad a lot of times about financially support from Timothy.
What do you say?
What is she still doing there then? I'm completely
giving him more
confused.
kids.
So, see, this is the issue. How do you hear things and she's mad about it and she doesn't accept it? See, this is the issue with the ride or die culture. And that is also what is actually perpetrating the baby mama culture, is the ride or die culture. Because it's like, if you don't like this and you're not down with the situation, why are you even still dealing with this guy? I'm so confused. What is going on?
That's what I want to know. These guys can tell these girls the most stupidest thing and they're gonna believe them, but they know it's a lie. But then, you know, they're gonna sit there and say, you know, I get so frustrated. But then why aren't you making a difference by not sleeping with him, now allowing him to be in your home? And if he wants to be around the kids, you allow him to do what he can. But
you can't be around these kids if you ain't got no job. For what? What are you gonna teach them? To be a loser like you? No,
exactly.
No, I'm not gonna get. And then she's like, "Oh, I don't like welfare. It makes you be lazy." They all got excuses. Then go get a job.
Right?
It's like complete. It's just they're comfortable. Just be honest. I'm comfortable not working. I'm comfortable not having a job, and I'm comfortable receiving this welfare check. Let's just be honest, because all this other stuff and saying, "Oh, well, he doesn't want to get a job," and him saying she's gonna sleep with someone else. Oh, please. But if she went and got a job, what do you think he's doing? He got other kids.
Right.
He's already sleeping with other women. What does it matter?
Anything that fool has to say about that? I mean, like, literally, is it because they don't have confidence in themselves and they think that they can't find another man?
No, because they're gonna just go ahead and get the same kind of guy again.
That's true. That's true. You're
just gonna keep manifesting the same man over and over again. So then it's not that. It's just ridiculous.
Wow.
But let's keep going.
You say to her?
I always said, ain't that hard to get a job. Go out there and look for a job, because I'm sick and tired of just laying back waiting for a welfare check. I said, this is not how I want to live the rest of my life. This is not the way I plan for my future to be.
Does it make you feel bad that you can't support your kids?
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
How do they make it? Where do they get the money?
Well,
but not bad enough for you to go get a job.
Go get a job. He can't even go get a job.
You can't get one job because you're not married to her, so they still gonna get the welfare check without you working. With you
that would
still
be
working.
Extra money for y'all since y'all like to finesse
what are you
the
even
government.
talking about? But okay.
Right.
Majority of them, the mothers on welfare, and welfare gives them the stipend for the month. So what I'm not doing, the government does.
What would happen if the government didn't?
It's a big disaster, I guess, because you can't give something that you don't have. In order to give, you got to have for yourself.
You see, people out there watching are going to say, why didn't he think about that before he brought 6 kids into the world?
Well, mother had a choice. She could have had an abortion, or she could have kept the child. she decided the way that she wanted to have a child, so therefore, I guess it's not sweating her. I mean, it's not bothering.
You think it's her fault if she gets pregnant?
Well,
And you fought her.
Well, maybe not. Like they say, mama, baby, papa, maybe. You know what I mean?
What?
A week.
Are we?
What? That's why you gotta
I'm
send your kids
so
to school. Send your kids to school so they can
disturbed.
get an education, but then also educate them on sex, educate them on learning them to make dumb decisions that they're making
Because
right
when you
now,
have
and learn how to
children from
pull out.
people, when you have children from people like this, you're only gonna recreate people like this.
Right.
What do you think his son is going to turn into? What do you think the little girl's going to turn into? This is why those people, like you said, right now, they would be in their 50s.
Yeah.
What do you think happened to their kids? They did the same thing.
Right.
The same thing kept happening over and over again. And this is the reason why. What? No responsibility.
None.
No responsibility at all to his
At all.
decision.
No.
And basically,
And he did it 6
he's a
times. He never
predator.
learned.
He's a predator
Yeah.
to women.
Right.
And openly admitting, I'm a predator, and it's her responsibility if she ends up with me because she could get rid of it. And it's like, this is horrible. And this is really just the society that we live in, that, you know, I hate to say, but the patriarchy that continues to try to control women's birth, but not controlling men's semen, and not controlling the men who's actually impregnating these women. Without these men doing that, there would be no birth. There would be no need for women's birth control. Why? Like, and it's just like, because there's women's birth control, because women can get abortions, I can do whatever I want. I can be irresponsible. I can not take care of my responsibilities. And this is how the cycle is being done. We're not going to stay on this the whole show, but I do want to kind of finish I want to get to the part with him.
Yeah. Week before their last baby is born, Alice came for what is only her 4th visit to the doctor during her pregnancy.
Again. 4th child.
She's pregnant again?
Yeah. 4th child with this loser.
Oh my
God. And she's crying about wanting him to go get a job, wanting him to do this.
Why
this
are
guy
you
never committed, never stood up to the plate to be a father. And then you decide to give him 4 children. Oh my God.
So many women, so many children. Do you ever think that maybe you shouldn't do it? Unless you can be sure you don't have a kid?
Oh, not really, because I'm highly sexed. But I have ways of cooling myself down. You know, because like when you're dealing with one female and you're not dealing with another female, having sex with her too much is bad. So you have to, like, you know, set a schedule when you should do it and when you should not.
What?
You seem to break your schedule sometimes.
Well, like most women say, you're a baby maker. I just got strong sperm.
Would you have had these kids if you'd thought about them?
He trying to laugh, and the guy's like, "It's not funny.
Nothing's funny that you're saying. He's married.
It's such a joke for him. It's such a joke for him. I can't."
No.
All were an accident.
Yeah, you can say that.
Were you just having a good time?
Yeah, a lovely time. I enjoyed myself.
And you didn't think about marrying any of these women except the first one, the first girl?
Yes. Well, I'm going to marry Alice.
Sandra?
Oh, yes. We're going to get married.
Do you love Sandra?
Yes. A lot. They do.
Does she love you?
This girl crazy about me.
Tell me, why don't you get married?
Well, see, I'm old-fashioned. I want a big wedding. That's that. And my uncles and my aunts, you know, they all had their little tuxedos, and I'm going to have mine too.
I thought you were going to say to me, because I can't afford to at the moment.
Oh, that ain't it. Because I'm going to find me something. I'm going to get something. You see, I'm strong in that spot.
When?
Find something. Never. I keep on trying. I don't never give up.
All right.
I'm
feel
done.
very responsible for your children, and Timothy doesn't. What does that say?
Yeah. This guy, he said he
Lavelle said he can get an effing job. Yes, yeah. Like, are we really? King says there's two sides to every story. They told both sides. He already said I'm a loser. So I think it was really interesting that he said the only basically reason why he wants to be married is because he wants to have a wedding. So basically, he's a woman in this situation. He's like, I don't want to work. I'm just gonna sit back and I'm gonna get married so I can have a wedding. So.
And he said that he's
no
gonna get his.
involved.
He's gonna. Listen. He literally was just saying that he's going to go get his tuxedo, just like his family got their tuxedo, and they want to know when. And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get mine. I always do. When? Why you didn't get yours right now with all your kids?
With your kids. So you're gonna go get yours for your tuxedo, but you're not gonna get yours to raise your child because the government's taking care of your child. Like how? And the thing of it is like you gotta really think is like, what woman is really falling for this shit? Lavelle says yes, he is a woman. Yeah, full on. He's a woman. He's a woman. He's taking on the feminine role. He said, I'm going to sit back. The government's going to be both me and your daddy because I'm sure she's living in a house that the government's paying for. And he's living in the house as well. He said, hey, we're both going to be being the woman here. And I'm going to keep on impregnating you because I'm not going to be responsible.
And that's going to give us more money. The government.
And it's going to give us more money. And then when I'm ready to marry you, when I'm ready to have this wedding, not even really marry you, but when I'm ready to have this wedding, then I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get a tuxedo. But I'm not going to figure out how I'm going to get this money for these kids that I keep on putting into
he's going to get married to her when she steps up. When she says, I'm done with the government, I'm going to go get a real job. I'm going to go get educated. I'm going to find a real professional job and we're going to get married.
Right.
And she's going to be the man because, like you said, he's the woman in the relationship. She's the man. She was trying to be the woman because she didn't want the responsibility and not go for work and just have these babies and think it's okay and think one day that man, Terrell or whatever his name is, Tyrone, I don't know who he is, but that he's going to step it up. But she doesn't believe that as well. It's like she knows. She believes it, but she doesn't believe it.
But the problem is because he already said it. She loves me. It's me. She loves me. She's too obsessed with him. She clearly is into him for whatever looks. If we can look at it, I looks think it's a bit better than her. So it's like he's put it into her mind like, oh, I'm the prize. I'm the one who, you're so lucky to have me. And so that's why she keeps on accepting him and keeps on just having these babies. But I do want to put on this one part before we go, because this woman says a lot of good stuff.
You learned something you was taught by your parents. It was reinforced by school and your neighbors, but it was taught by your parents. Your parents said, Bill, you better not do that. Don't put that plug over there. You're going to get a whipping, right? Your parents did it. Well, if the parents don't know anything, how are they going to teach the children? Now, if we have a generation of that kind of thing happening and the kids are coming up under that, then we got another generation of lost young people.
Why are there so many single-parent households?
Have you been walking the streets in Newark lately? All our young men are out on the corner, just absolutely doing nothing. That's the problem.
Why? What's happened to those young men? What's happened to the black man?
It's like they've given up. It's like they're really not a part of what's going on.
Why are they not? Why have they given up?
There aren't that many jobs, for the laborer like there used to be. And they're just totally unmotivated. And society has made living for the women without the husband or without the male easy.
Oh?
Yeah, welfare. I think welfare is not the best thing for everybody.
Tell me why.
Because it provides you with some kind of income that you sooner or later just settle for. I know I was on welfare. I've been on welfare.
Are you suggesting that we do away with welfare?
No, I'm saying it has to be upgraded. For instance, I have some young people here that are on welfare, okay, but would like to work. But they can't work and make a coin because everything you make is taken away from your check.
Can you push the solution even further back? Is there any way to stop the cycle of teenage pregnancies?
That's so difficult to even talk about. In my heart, I think I have a solution, and I know now it may rub people the wrong way. But I believe that teenage pregnancy cannot be stopped by programs. It has to be morals, and morals come from God. And somewhere along the line, the Black family kind of strayed away from that. And I believe we need it.
You say the moral values have changed.
Oh, yes. It's morally acceptable to have babies. It was not morally acceptable years ago. That's hurting the Black family.
What I hear you saying is that even
Okay. And so Lavelle says if he's the woman, why he not have the babies? Yeah, exactly. Well, he don't care. He don't want to have the babies. He just want to be the woman and kick back. But what she said is so true. It's like the morals have left the building, and the we clearly can see that because look at this generation now. Everything that's being said, because we always do this, right? We always see something that was in the past, and then we come back to the future, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's still happening. It's still here.
Right.
This could have been a documentary made today, and it would still be the same thing, same conversation, and with the same people. And the excuse is always the same. It's like there's not much jobs for the laborer. But I live in LA, and let me tell you something. There are Mexican men who are on the corner doing whatever they need to do to make sure that they have some money, and they make sure that they take care of their children. So that whole excuse of there's not any jobs and stuff like that is like, okay, well, you make something out of yourself still. You don't just sit there and say, well, there's no job, so I'm not going to do nothing. It's like okay, well, there's no job, so make a job. And yeah, like she said, they did give up. And because of that, you know, everybody in the community suffers. It's like without the man stepping up and being, you know, willing to do something, then they leave it to the woman. And then we have a society now where obviously the Black woman is, you know, closing the gap in the wages with the white woman. She's the most educated right now in America. The Black woman is just, you know, breaking all these barriers and coming out and like putting herself first and putting her education and her well-being first. And what do we hear from the Black men? They're mad. They're upset. They're like, oh, these women are becoming educated. They're leaving us behind. They're leaving us behind. And it's like, you stepped out.
You wanted a break, but there's no such thing as a break in this life. Like this is every other generation. I mean, not a generation, but every other cultures, ethnicities, they get it. But then these ones, the ones that were in the streets, the one that gave up and said, "I'm gonna go hang out in the streets." And I'm gonna just hang, like they're literally, instead of like you're saying, like creating something, like doing, he was an artist. Why not just like, if you go to another country, you'll see all their artwork and they're trying to sell it to you and all that stuff like that. You'll go to Haiti, Mexico, whatever, Puerto Rico, all those things. You got people that's hanging around where the tourist areas, selling them this, selling them that.
They're trying
so
to
if you're
sell
an artist,
something.
or even like I seen a Caucasian man, he was inside of the beach and he was just like painting people, and everybody was in line like, oh, I want to be painted too, like, you know, certain things that they do in New York that you get on Times Square, like a lot of things that they can create, but instead of they're just,
I mean, I went to Vegas
music, trying to be friends with people.
Right. I went to Vegas and I saw a bunch of guys, they were breakdancing in the street, and a bunch of people were standing there, you know, supporting them, watching them dance and giving them money. They were doing flips and stuff like that. But it was like, there's things to do. I mean, we're in America, you know, you can do anything for money at this point. And so for them to just sit down and have children and not take full responsibility of those children and really go out and make something of themselves. Like if you weren't going to work, you should never had children. If you don't have children, you're for yourself. If you don't want to work, then fine. That's your own responsibility. Go live on the street. We don't care. But if you have children, you have to be an example for your children. And I think that's the issue. Like she said, it's the morals that's messed up, because if you don't have like, I think I think we did a show about this like
Rites of
last
passage.
year about the rites of about the rites of passage and how the Black community doesn't really have a rites of passage. Like, say the Jewish community has a rites of passage when the kid is 13, they put the guy through all these things. And back in the ancient time, we used to have that where, you know, you would go out in the woods and you would hunt, the kid would come back, and if you killed something and brought food for the village, then he was looked at as a man. You know, those things kind of make a man feel responsible, and men really don't have the ability to kind of sit back and take, you know, just let people take care of the responsibilities. It's like men have to go out, they have to do something, like they have to do it, like even if they're emotional, even if like things are going on with them, even if they're depressed, they still have to go out and do something. Like they
Even if
can't,
they're
there's just
weak.
no room for it, because if they fall back and they're weak, then who's going to protect the community? And then what's happened in the Black community is the woman had to protect the community, and the woman had to step up. And that's why you see all these women, like those girls who are saying, hey, you know what, I didn't have a dad, I'm fine, so I'm not going to raise this kid without a dad.
But you're
not fine because you now have a child of your own. And so maybe, and then the one girl who did have a dad, what happened? He said, well, the dad said, get this loser out of here and I'm going to raise the both of you. And that loser, what he do? Okay, well, the dad's raising the kid.
Yeah.
And so how do you think that, and then how do you think that child is going to be raised? Probably fine, right?
Thank goodness for the father stepping up. I mean, somebody got to do it. That's why it's like, it doesn't matter who you have a child with. If they're dusty and they don't want to step up, you're going to have to go find another one that's going to step up. A lot of people in the community, like the other ethnicities, they move on pretty quickly because they have parents who have never experienced that. They're still together. They experience a father being home. And like, if I have to be the father right now, but you get yourself together and you go find yourself another father for this child.
Right.
There's fathers out there that's pushing their children to do that when they make those kind of mistakes. But then there's parents out there that's like, okay, we'll handle this together, or we'll let this dusty come back in here and be a freeloader.
No. And that's the thing. It's like if the kid is like, it doesn't matter if the guy is not doing his part, if he is not, you know, providing and protecting this family, then we don't need him in here anyways. If you're just going to be a dusty and take up space, then you're not even doing the child a favor by being here. You're actually setting a bad example for the child, and we don't want you here anyways. We only want strong men to be here, and men who feel a sense of responsibility to their responsibilities. So
when you say
you
that,
don't want a guy who's not accountable.
Exactly. And when you give them that ultimatum and you do that, guess what that does? That pushes that person to be like, whoa, I don't want that person to give up on me. I'm going to go do what it takes. I know I was being a dusty before and playtime's over. So I'm going to go take care of my responsibility, or I'm going to continue to move on and do it to somebody else. You give them both those options to make those decisions. So
you know, and this guy that I used to work with, he was a cook in one of the restaurants that I used to work in, and he was like, you know, making a cook's salary or whatever. He was a Black guy, and he was like, you know, I have a wife or whatever. We were talking because I was like, dang, you always working. Like every time I see you, you're always at work, and you leave like later than me. Like you're always here. And he was like, yeah, like, you know, I just, you know, my wife is stay at home, and I just work and make sure that I have enough money to take care of them and everything like that. And I was just like, wow, like I know you're not making that much money, but you're making like all the money that you can make to make sure that your family is provided for. And I was like, dang, like that's dope. And we actually became cool because of that. Cause I was like, you know, even that's what I was saying, like even the Mexicans, like they're not making the most money, but they stay with a job and they stay working and they stay having like, you know, their kids taken care of. And I mean, you can meet any Mexican girl and she's going to tell you like, I love my dad, let me go ask my dad's going to go take care of it. It's because like they can depend on it. And then that's just not always the case in the Black community. And I really think, like she said, it's because of morals. It's like they don't feel morally responsible for those decisions that they make that impact a
And they
woman.
can go to
and
church and everything, and they still not gonna make the right decision and
Girl,
be in there. No, I'm just trying to explain to you. They can be the
don't be
holiest
trying to
of
find
holy
men at church
man.
because they be the ones who's gonna be predator. I don't really believe all the way these guys are that religious. So watch out if you see a guy at church and he's trying to talk to you. If he's at church, he should not be worried about trying to find a date. He
Unless
should be worried
he
about
wants
what
to
he
get
went to church
married.
for.
Unless he wants to get married. So you don't know. Some might be a good deal, and a lot of them are child molesters
His
and all
pastor
that
will hook
stuff.
him up. Yeah, I don't know.
You said his pastor will hook them up.
No, because they prey on certain women. Like men
Yeah,
prey on certain types
weak-minded
of women.
women. Yeah, the one
So
that they can play.
you know, that guy knew what he was doing. Like he said, when he was like, "Oh, you love her," he was like, "Yeah, I love her." And then he was
Yeah,
like, "Does
because
she
he
love
knows
you?"
she
He was
don't see
like,
that.
"Come on, she loves me. Come on, I'm the man. She loves me."
You know.
Like, okay, so you're telling
Exactly.
me that she's in love with it. That's like he was so
Mhm.
sure she was in love with him, and it was like that's
He
the
knows
reason.
that.
He
He knows.
knows because that's why he preyed on that type of girl because
Yeah,
he was like, she's gonna love me more than
they
anything.
all love
She's
him.
never gonna kick me out. I'm gonna
Right.
keep on telling her excuses. I'm gonna keep on telling her I'm gonna marry her. He's never gonna marry her. And if he ever, like you said, if he ever marries her, is because she goes and gets a job and she's gonna be the main provider, and he's gonna make sure that he's in that contract with her and make sure he get every dollar he can take from
Right,
her
because
because he
he
knows
want
how
her
to
life
manipulate
insurance,
her.
health insurance, everything. Because
All of it.
he
All
done
of it.
already knew how to scheme.
And then trying to say, oh, like it's so crazy because I want to bring it back into this time is like, and now, you know, it's being promoted. There are so many, like the thing of it is I want to say like the Rihanna situation is like that then turns around and continues to promote the idea of being a baby mama is cool. Become a baby mama. You're like, it's like, if that's your girlfriend, why do you need that to be the mother of your child? Why are we messing up this girlfriend and boyfriend thing? Why is that open season to have a baby? I don't get that. I don't understand why that's the next thing in your mind. It's like, I'm a girlfriend, now I can have a kid. It's like, why would that be the next step?
And I also think that a lot of women are making the decision to be baby mamas because they don't have supposedly someone who loves them unconditionally. And they think that the baby will be the one to give them that love that they're missing from either their parents or the man that they're with. It's just somebody who's going to always love them.
Right. Which makes
And
sense if you can
yeah,
afford it.
right.
Because if not, then you're just bringing the baby into trauma, and I think that's the issue that we have to think about is like, who are you doing this for? Because if we're thinking about the child, if we're thinking about the children, it's for the children. Then it's like, is this really good for the children? And I know people aren't thinking about that. It's not about the children, and it's kind of a lie when it
No,
is
it
about the
happens.
children.
It
Because if it
happens
is
that
the children, then you can take care of that child by yourself,
the
and you don't.
children comes
It's
after the
about the
fact that they
guy.
find out that
It's
they're
about the
pregnant
guy.
and the guy's no longer there. I'm just
It's
trying to
about the
tell you.
guy.
Of course, it's
Yeah.
always
Well, if
been
the
about the
guy's
guy.
no longer
They had the
there, then
baby
fine.
because
But you're willing to have
they
the baby
wanted
because
the
you want to
guy.
keep the guy.
Right.
Period.
Like,
Period.
this guy is somebody that you want to, like, why aren't they having babies by people who, like, why weren't they thinking like the Russian women and said, you know what, I'm gonna go get me a nice
Yeah.
provider.
Yeah.
No, they didn't think like that. They're like, oh, let me get a
Because
guy who's gonna use me.
But it's usually these situations where the woman loves the guy more than the guy loves the woman. So if it's in that situation where it's like, I'm so in love with him, I'm gonna do this because I
want to be
really
with him
want to be
forever.
with him, and I really
And
and
I want
it's
to
like
deal with
it's
him
never
forever.
logical, right? Because it's clouded by emotions. So
Yeah.
your emotional attachment is what's causing you to make these permanent decisions. And it's like, you can never make a permanent decision like that. That guy did not. And this is the thing. It's like, if that guy is not making that relationship official, why would you give him something so official? And I think that as women, we have to really think about that, is like where our value really lies in for ourselves is like, or do you really think so low of yourself that you think that he deserves your womb? because that's a huge part of you, especially as Black women. Like, you are the creator of life. You are like God incarnate. You like birth every single person on this planet. No, everybody came through your womb. We can look at the Eve gene. It's from a Black woman. A Black woman made every culture, every nationality, and they all came from a Black woman. So you are literally God, and you're sitting here giving dusties and bums your womb. And that is the issue right there, because it's like, then you don't know your value. And then if you don't know your value and you're having a child, what do you think that they're going to think of themselves? It's just a cycle of trauma that keeps on going round and round. And it's the saddest thing, because it's like the actual strongest, most powerful being is here doubting themselves, looking for acceptance in someone who's essentially doesn't even matter, gave
Do you
up
think that
on themselves.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this happens because we talked about the rites of passage for the man, but for the
Mm-hmm.
woman, we have like the sweet 16, but no one has. I don't even think there was ever. Have you ever seen anybody describe the sweet 16, the quinceañeras, the because I'm including them in this issue as well.
No.
Um,
Because and it's not only, it's just mostly American, right? Because the whole
yeah,
American society and the way of living doesn't really acknowledge any of those real parts of a child's life and raising
mhm,
a child. So
yeah.
the
Unless
only
you're in the
community
country
that
and
really is serious about it would be like the
the
Jewish
Jews,
community, who does the bat mitzvahs and puts the kids through the
and that's why
courses
all
and
their
does all
kids
of
have
those things.
businesses and become something
And
successful.
they have the formula, and I think that's the issue, is like people are trying
Mhm.
to rewrite a formula that already works. But again, like she said,
Yeah,
it's not necessarily, because as a community, as all communities, we look to the man to lead, right? We look to the
yeah,
man to be the one to protect and provide, and to be the head of the community. And when the men give up, then that's, what do? The women and children are unprotected. The man gave up.
mhm,
So then you get, the white man, the government. And not saying just
mhm,
every white person, but that's who, the United States government is,
mhm,
this idea of them, the white people, whatever way you want to put it. And so now he's taking care of the responsibility. And
mhm,
so at that point, it's like, who does she have? What is she? And then it's like, well, then there's this ride or die culture that's then telling her, you know what, I'm gonna have to stick by him and
yeah.
ride it out with him.
To death
Even
do us
though
part with
he's
no
given up,
commitment.
she
Mhm,
has to sit by him to wait around that maybe he won't give up. Maybe he
mhm.
won't give up. And that's the saddest part. King says growing up in such a household could be detrimental to your child to having a well-balanced life. Also considering the high tendency that women fall for bad boys, your co-parenting daddies could be drug dealers, scam artists, etc. Exactly. And that's
Mhm.
and the reason why these women fall for the bad boys is because that is the image that is promoted to them to fall for.
Right,
This
right.
is who they're, be with
Attracted
you
to.
want the rappers, and what are the rappers
Mhm,
talking about? You want to be the one who's, he's going to get you this, he's going to get you that, he's going to, Birkins and all this stuff. Well, who's really going to buy you that other than a
mhm,
scammer who's not actually making money legitly? And he's like, hey, I'm not going to blow 50,000 on a bag. I'm going to, invest that money into something else. It's basically promoted, hey, be with the irresponsible guy with fast money. So
mhm. Because
those
he's getting the
guys, we
Gucci's, the
already know he's
Louis, the
irresponsible and
everything.
he has
Yeah,
fast money, and he's
right,
living a fast life. So he's not
right.
even going to really be here. His life is going by too fast. His money's going by too fast. So
They're
it's
even
like,
going on trips now,
right. So
taking
if
these
this is
girls
being
on
promoted
vacations and
to
stuff.
her,
Yeah.
and it's being promoted through social media, through the music, through all of
Right.
these things, this
Mhm.
is what she's now going into and saying, hey, this is, this is what I want. And I know so many women like this. I've been close to a lot of women, and I've been in conversations like straight up, and I'm like, hey, why don't you just like, talk to doctors and lawyers and, just go for execs and like professional guys. And she was like, I don't mind dating scammers. I don't mind dating like, and because they want that fast Instagram looking life. They want that life where it's like, it's just give me the money. I don't mind dating this kind of person. I don't mind dating a drug dealer. And it's like, Kat, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day,
You remember that conversation, right?
Yeah, I do. And I've always advised women to, date somebody who's professional. Like no matter if they're not entry level, but like they could be a manager. You could start from there. Like somebody who has a real job. Like what's your profession? I can Google, do you have LinkedIn, like, or something? Like you can research these men. Like I don't know why women are not doing their research. I mean, guys always doing research on us. They're gonna be like, oh, what's your Instagram or whatever. That's kind of like our new research. But we're like, what's your LinkedIn? That's the adult version of you. It's like you're asking for my Instagram. I don't want to talk to you. I'm asking you, what's your LinkedIn? What's your real stuff, buddy? Do you have a business card?
But then but that's something. What I'm saying. But then you see, your favorite artists dating the bad boy too. If they can date them and they're a billionaire, then I can date them too. They date a guy who looks like that. I can date a guy who looks like that too. If they're doing it, I can do it. So it's
mainstream media. It's fake. These relationships are fake.
But you have to remember,
Rocky, the Rihanna's, that relationship. These things are all fake. These are not. Hold on. Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
But like she said, they don't have parents who have the morals to raise them and teach them about this is not something to look up to. So if they don't even have that, then of course they're going to look at those those influences that mainstream is pushing towards them. That is who's raising them. Who's been raising them.
Well, that's exactly when they.
The fact that Travis Scott had a concert that people died and it was children there. What are children? Who are your parents that you allow your child to go to a rap concert? And so this is the culture that it is. It's children having children and then letting mainstream or government raise the kid. And so if you have television, mainstream, social media, and your favorite artist raising your child, and you're also being
raising
raised
you
by that
and your child.
thing, you and your child is being raised by it.
Because y'all both know all the same music. Y'all listening to the same songs.
This is the cycle.
There was a time when a parent would be like, oh, that is not for you. You can't listen to that kind of music. Remember even Cardi B tried to check her daughter like, oh, you can't listen to my music. There's morals there, right?
Because she knows. I mean, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj just came out and she was talking to somebody for an interview and she was like, oh, my son is not rapping. He's nothing to do with music. I want him nothing to do with music. So they know because they already seen how, the society, this is the thing. People think like, it's kind of like with the elites, what they say, don't listen to them. Watch what they do. They're sitting here making sure that their kids don't end up like how they ended up. And they're like, oh, well, you know what? I don't want my kid to be involved in this. I don't want them to do that because I already seen it. I did it. I made the sacrifice and I did it. I don't want them to be like that. But they're going to feed it to your kids. They're going to do it to your own kids. They're going to take your kids down to save their own kid. And that's the thing that people are not connecting is like, these people aren't for you. They're not doing this to tell you this is a good idea. They'll tell you, I'm not a role model, even though they're a role model. They'll say, oh, I'm not a role model, just to try to take away responsibility,
just like that guy.
But they are a role model. You are a role model.
Yeah.
And you're taking them straight to their grave. You're taking them straight to their poverty.
I think people need to be more conscious. Cycle. Exactly. I think learning this information, I'm hoping like, that lady wherever she is in the world right now, the one that has the fourth child, that was her last child, even learning that, because she probably watched it back on TV and was like, dang, that's what my life looked like. I'm gonna stop this, and I'm gonna stop dealing with this Dusty. I'm gonna figure this whole thing out. Sometimes Black women get it together and they know that they made a mistake, and they rise up, and they you fall and you get back up. It happens.
But that's the thing
so
about Black
that's a
women.
part of life.
Black women
Yeah.
will always get up and figure it out they've been figuring it out with the man, without the man, a long time. What the
Right.
way Black women are coming up now just shows how
Mhm.
strong and resilient and powerful Black women actually are.
Right.
And these
Exactly.
men, like, that's is why, like, you got to step into your power. Forget about that ride or die stuff, because that's for the
Yeah.
birds. We're not doing that no more, because what that really just means is that you dying. It ain't nothing about riding. It's just dying, because he ain't even got a car for you to ride in. It's just dead. You just dying. So stop doing that. And these women who say, you know what, I'm gonna choose myself, they're the ones who's creating stuff. They're the ones who's out here being they're a good investment. Everybody knows that. So at the end of the day, Black women continue to grow and move past these Dusties. I don't care what their story is. If you feel, we don't feel bad for them. We don't give charity to grown-ups.
No.
We help children. We don't help grown-ups, and we definitely don't help men. So let's not do that, and continue to grow ourselves and be better for ourselves, because at the end of the day,
they need to learn.
you deserve the best. Yeah,
Exactly.
they need to learn themselves. If they fail, they fail. That's their problem, because they left you to fail.
Yeah.
They left you to fail. They left you to fail. When they sat there and impregnated you and didn't take responsibility, or even sat there and said, well, you know what, I'm still going to raise my kid, but, I don't want no marriage between us. Get that out of the door. If he's talking about something, he don't want no marriage because he don't do the government thing. Do you got an ID, sir? Do you got an ID? Then you do the government thing.
So
do you have a social security number? Then you do the government thing. Don't tell me you don't do the government thing.
Or do you have a little job that's taking taxes from you, but you won't give me
everything
taxes?
is for the government. So stop playing. Your whole life was already taken to the government. So at the end of the day, if he's telling you that mess, he's capping, and you need to leave that dude in the dust, and stop being scared or sad about somebody walking out of your life that ain't even supposed to be there. Because he's just holding you down from your real
relationships you had, and he walked out of your life? How many breakups you had? How many friends you used to talk to? They got out of your life. You remember them? But you can't forget about this Dusty who's wasting your years and time.
I just hate when people say that. It's like, and then the woman just falls for it, right? And it's like, instead of saying, okay, that's great, you don't do marriage, but I am actually someone who wants marriage in my life, so I'm gonna move on. So the same thing, if a guy is with a woman and she's like, hey, I don't want to have a baby, I don't actually want a baby, guess what? And he really wants to have kids, he's gonna go find some other woman to go marry and get a kid with. He's gonna leave. He's gonna choose himself. So I suggest the same thing for women. Is like, hey, if you know you want to be married, if you know you want to build a life like how you dream to have it, don't settle for someone who doesn't want the same things as you. And all these women, they want to be married. And even if they're sitting there lying, oh yeah, I don't want to be, they all want to be married, but they don't want to let go of the dust. They want to stay and play with Dusty because they love him so much, because they just so happy that he's, giving them a chance. And issue right there. It's like, who even that's like getting attention from a guy who's like at the gas station trying to holler. It's like, you think I care about him trying to holler at me? He's at the gas station standing around, not doing nothing. Why would I care? That's like the guy when you walking down the street, cat calling, and he's trying to talk to you. Do you think I care that he's trying to talk to me? He's on the corner of the street not doing nothing. He should be working right now. And it's like, you're putting value to someone who's not even valuable.
Dropping gems.
So I suggest like all of the baby mothers, like, really think about that, because if you're going to be with the guy and he's not sitting there committing to you, then you got to leave that fool, because at the end of the day, he's not doing you or your kid no favors. He's just really not. Unless he's really, really wealthy and he's giving you a monthly allowance, I don't know why you even there. And that's even if you have a job. He should still be giving you a monthly allowance for you and your child.
He needs to give you a month. He needs to give you a month
and your
allowance,
child.
Period. I don't understand why people, like, if you go to court, if the government has to sit there and put him on child
The
support.
government's gonna tell him to give
why
you
can't
money.
you exactly?
So
So why
you're
can't
gonna
you
have to have
get
him give you money. As soon as you're
real
not married to the
conversation?
guy, they're like,
Yeah,
you need to give her money. Period.
yeah. And if you
Y'all
don't give
not
her money,
married,
I'll give her
you owe
money,
her
but you
money.
gonna pay me back
Yep.
because y'all have
I'm
me in
gonna
the
give her
middle.
money. So if the government knows that they need to give, like, if they're giving money on your behalf, then don't you think you owe her some money? Not more
But
babies.
wouldn't you feel better?
You
Wouldn't
owe her
you feel
money.
better? Wouldn't you feel better to do it on your own where you don't have to involve a third party?
No.
I think
These guys be
well,
on child support and not getting a real job and get jobs
well,
that
they're
pay
not gonna
under the
work at
table so
all.
they
I
don't pay
know a
for
man who quit his
their
job
kid.
because they started taking money from his check. He's like,
And
oh, I
it's
gotta
like,
go. They
dang,
started
you don't
taking
want
money
to
from my
take
check.
care of your kid that much?
Yep.
That's so wrong.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That is so
Quit
bad.
his job just because they were deducting money out of his check, and so when he got his check was so low that he could not even live. So he was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna work. And I was like, so what are you gonna do?
So instead of
He's like,
him
oh,
saying,
I'll
okay,
figure it
let me go
out. And
get
I'm
2
like, okay.
jobs, instead of him saying, let me go get another
They'll take
job,
this
he
one.
said,
They'll
I'm
take the
just
money
gonna
from
go
this
quit.
job, and no, he's gonna go quit. I don't know what he did after that because I don't know him. But but other than that, I was like, these guys
And I
won't
know a
step
guy,
it
I
up.
know a girl who was having a baby with a guy and he had already had a kid. And she was telling me, oh, he, doesn't work a real job because he doesn't want to pay child support for the first kid. And I was like, so why are you having a kid with him? If you
Right.
already know he's not paying child support, why are you going and having a kid
What
with
if
him
it
now?
doesn't? You got to think logically. Okay, so it didn't work out with him and his baby mama,
And basically
and
he's
he's
using
not
you
paying.
because
So
you guys, you're
right,
paying the
live
rent for
together,
him
right?
to live together, and you got a roommate. So he's not paying for nothing. He's over here getting a free ride and making babies, and you just sitting here saying that's okay. And she was a very beautiful girl, very intelligent, and she was doing the same thing. And it's just like, ladies, I don't know what it is. And she was a Black woman. I don't know what
You
it
know what it
is
is.
in Black women, but you got to wake up and love yourself more than you love these guys. I'm telling you, they're going to kill you. They don't love you. They don't love themselves. And they're not going to
Doesn't
do
matter how many
anything
times they
different
tell
from
you they
you
love
that they
you.
didn't do for themselves already, because they love
Right.
themselves more than they love you, and they don't even love themselves.
Mhm.
So if somebody doesn't even love themselves, but they definitely love themselves more than you, then what are you even doing? And I want
I
to have
wish
these
they
real
had.
conversations
Me
with
too. I
young girls,
want. This
because
is what
I
I'm saying.
can't help the ones that already did something, but I really care for the children. It's like, you can't do these stupid permanent decisions, because you have to really think about, like, what am I going to give to this kid? How am I going to raise this child? What values and how am I going to be able to produce something? And like he said, it's a lot of these, Black artists and singers and stuff, they come from one parent households too, and they have parents that pop up after, like, hey, that's my boy.
It's sad because that's who they
And
pick
so
to be in the
then,
industry anyways.
and
The
that's
people who have these kind
the
of
broken
experiences.
ones.
Yeah.
The broken ones. And so it's just like, so it's basically you raising a kid to think like, I'm only going to be loved if I become super wealthy, and then I'll get another parent.
Yeah.
But I'm not worth loving until then.
Well, that's where you shouldn't have your child think like that. I think it's important for the women now, like, if you're single, you need to not be single. You need to start dating, and you need to start, making people your husbands. Like, do copy what the Russian woman does. I don't care if these guys are on here saying you're a gold digger, you're this. You gotta raise a family. You need somebody who's gonna
Only
support
broke
you and
people
be
say
there for you.
gold digger.
This is what I'm telling you.
Like,
I said,
gold
don't
digger.
listen to.
Ain't nobody
This is the
digging for
mindset.
nobody's gold. No, let me tell you something.
Can
Ain't
I-
nobody digging
Yeah.
for gold, because guess what? If he's not willingly gonna give me anything, then I'm not gonna dig. That's a lot of
Right.
work. So I'm gonna walk
This is-
away. Okay, the
this
gold
is
should
the
be on the
mindset
table
that they
saying, "Here
use.
you go." Like, what the heck?
This is the
Digging for
mindset
gold.
that they
Nobody's
use
digging.
when they don't how would you say it? They
They
don't
don't have, so
really
they clump. Yeah.
They don't believe in what we're trying to explain of the provider. That's a gold digger for them. I don't get it,
Yeah.
but it's just like, all right, I'm done with y'all like fairy tale world. That's not even a fairy tale that you want to live in, to be a baby mother. You like, didn't you have that dream of one day having this beautiful, like, did you not watch the princess movies? You didn't want that kind of life? And those kind of stories were only for
It's not even
the
about that.
Caucasian
It's
people.
about
I'm just saying, like,
it's
the
about
family has to be
reality.
your
It's
reality
about
should be
reality.
having a happily ever after.
In
You
reality,
can't.
if you have a child with him and you're not married, honey, he has no legal right to do anything for you.
Okay, so then move on and then find a family like that can give you that.
And people say, well, I don't want to be married. Okay, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter if you don't want to be married, but you still need somebody to help you out with these kids, and they can't be your parents. Stop
And
trying
that's
to
the
give your
thing that I
parents that
don't like when people
responsibility.
try to put it on the grandparents. Like that's
Yeah.
your grandparents the grandparents had you.
Had the
They
time,
did their
their time.
part. Let them
Yeah.
enjoy the rest of their life. Why do they
Let
gotta
them
raise your
retire.
kid too? Because you're
Right.
irresponsible.
Mhm.
Oh, because they was irresponsible having you. So you're like, well, now you gotta raise another kid. See, this is the cycle. If
But you
you
shouldn't
are
do that. If you love
irresponsible,
your parents,
yeah,
even
if
if
you
they
love
were
your parents, you shouldn't
irresponsible,
have them raise your
even if they
kids.
were,
That's
yeah,
wrong.
even if they were irresponsible, I think even if your parents did drugs, they were the baddest parents, they didn't love you, whatever, you still gotta love them. You don't have to treat them like crap. Like, you and think that they're responsible to take care of the things
Then
that you
now
don't want to
you're
and stuff.
guaranteed
No,
babysitter. It's like no.
no,
I don't
no. You
think I
hire a
don't like
nanny.
I don't have children, but when I do have children, I would never give like my mom the responsibility of taking care of my child, and my husband, he's not going to give his parents the responsibility of taking care of our child either. It's like it's our responsibility. It's our children. And the same way I wouldn't want anybody parenting my kid. So I'm like I'm so serious about raising my own children and give them certain type of morals and doing stuff like that. I'm not going to, make other
Well, that's
people
why you
take
don't
care of
have
my
any.
responsibility.
Right. That's
Even,
why you don't have any kids right now. It's like,
right.
I'm responsible. I know, I see where,
Girl, that's why I don't
how
even
I
have
want my life
pets.
to.
Okay. I don't have pets because I know I'm not responsible to take care of somebody else right now. Like I already
You
know
have the
me.
right
I
to
don't
say
do
that. That lady didn't
anything.
have the right to use that term of like saying that she doesn't want that responsibility and commitment when she already
A
has
child
one.
is way more responsibility than a husband. Are you kidding me?
Right.
A husband you don't have to raise. Like the whole psychology behind it is so weird, but that's because she's not educated and doesn't know any
Yeah.
better. But it's like you don't raise a husband, you don't have to take care of a husband. Why would that be more responsibility? All you have
That's
to,
why
she was
that
like,
was
and
a
I don't want the
lie.
commitment. So you don't want to be committed to one person, so you just want to be out here.
No, it was a lie. It was a lie
It
because
was a
all
lie,
those
and it
things was
sounds
a lie
stupid
because
because a
they had
child
another child.
is
They
so
had more
much
than
more
one
commitment
child.
than a husband.
But they had more than one child. So why was it
Yeah.
such a commitment not to be married, but to have more
It's like,
children is
no.
okay?
Having
To have
a
more than
child
3
without
children.
the husband is so much more of a commitment than anything. It's like children are a full-time commitment there, and there's no end sight until you
There's
die.
no
It's like
sleep.
not even
There's no
18,
nothing.
like not even when they're 18, you have the responsibility of your child. Like my mom still feels a responsibility to me till this day, and I'm a grown up, it never ends. So it's like forever you have this responsibility to your child. And so yeah, it's crazy that people don't think of it that way. But like I said, I'm like, I don't make permanent decisions that I'm not 100% okay with at the time. Even if I'm like 80% okay with it, I'm not doing it because it's just I just don't want the permanent decision. I'm just not for it.
I mean, I'm gonna say I was as young as those girls when I had Sinai. So, well, actually, I was 18, so they were like 16. But I did make a permanent decision and did believe in the person as well. Like, when you're young, you have that mindset of believing men and thinking that they're gonna do what they say they're gonna do, and then time comes, baby's here, and things change. All this
Right.
commitment talk and offering.
And that's
there,
what I
there
want
was
you
no
guys to
step
know
up.
too.
Yeah.
Is like we're not speaking Kat's not speaking not from experience. She was
Right.
in that situation and can
Exactly.
speak out about it. Not internalizing it and being emotional and not want to hear it because she went through the same thing. It's like, no, I made the same mistake too. And that's why I'm speaking out about it, because like that lady said, she was on welfare too. And that's why she could speak out about it and says, I don't think welfare is the right way to go. It's like speaking from experience. So it's
definitely
important.
speaking in experience. And but I didn't make that my reality. I understood that I took the responsibility of bringing a child into this world without wedlock as well. And so for me, it was just like I believed in the person that I was dealing with, and I don't even know what I was thinking. I feel like those women, like, what are you?
But you
thinking?
didn't stop. At least you didn't, like, you kept working. You went to university. You got scholarship. You still kept going with your life. You didn't just stop and say, well, now I'm on.
Because of my mom, my mother. If my mother was like those people's mother who was a baby's mother and all that stuff, like that story didn't happen.
Your mother wasn't no baby's mother.
I said that's because my mother wasn't like their mother's a baby mother. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I had my family had morals. I was the first one to go out of this is not in our life. Like, we don't do this. Like, what I've done when I had my child without wedlock, it was uncalled for. Like, hold on, we don't do this in our culture, and we don't do this in our family line. What's going on here? So I was the first one to bring that in, and I didn't want that for the repeat story from my daughter. So I made sure I didn't go out and have multiple more kids without being married to somebody. Like, I made sure that I understood that what happened and overcome that, and not take that as like a downfall. Like, oh my God, I don't even call myself a baby mama. I'm not even that. I literally got a sperm donor, and who takes the responsibility when they want to take the responsibility. I'm not like
that. Who take responsibility? Oh, I don't know what happened. I think she kind of jumped out the screen real fast. Okay, guys. Well, I'm here. Oh, she just jumped back in.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So whatever. At the end of the day, I didn't repeat the cycle by continuing to have multiple kids by these guys who were dusty, who were giving me these hopes and dreams and thinking that, oh, I'm gonna be here forever, and I just want a fancy wedding. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't got time for that. I literally let those people walk out the door. Don't come back here at all. You know what I mean? Or step it up.
Right.
Actually, I don't even want you coming to the store, to be honest.
Yeah.
So and then I learned about dating. Like, after that, I learned about dating the correct person, dating somebody who has a real future for themselves, who's already established, who's done, things in this world. I'm not just dealing with someone who's, new to this world and trying to figure things out and young-minded.
Oh, there's like a whole, I mean, and this is the thing with women, is like, you got to find somebody, or be with someone who's already got the home, already got the career, already got and these things have to already come. If that person does not have those things,
you got it
right. Exactly. So it's like, if that person doesn't already have you can't talk to them, right? Because they haven't grown up yet. King says one of the sole reasons why people go the baby mama route is because they know marriage isn't a guarantee of exclusivity. They have a child and that's it. The woman is free to do whatever she wants with whomever she wants. BM effing another man won't hurt. A wife effing another man is like the end of the world. No, I think that's an excuse, because women don't necessarily think like that. Women aren't looking to sleep with a bunch of men.
We're not really looking to be a baby
that's
mama
not
either.
A reality. And if a woman is being well taken care of from her man, it's a less likely that she's looking for another man to do anything for her. And women, most likely, if she has a husband and a child, she's more likely going to be focused on her family. That's
children.
how women work. More modern
well.
time women, the women that they're trying to create now, may think that that's a situation, but if she did something like that, she's only going to regret it later on in her life. So that's never the case. I mean, that could be a thing with men, but that's not a thing with women. Women and men don't think of sex the same way. We don't put those things as important as men do. So yeah, there's no,
I would only
like,
think that a woman who thinks on that level is not a woman. She's a girl, and she's being
yeah,
brainwashed by mainstream media. She's
yeah.
a social media girl.
Yeah, because women don't think like that. That's not a natural way for women to think. And if in the case of it is, then she wouldn't even get married. If you're young, because when I was young, I wasn't thinking about any of the guys that I dated when I was young. I wasn't thinking that I wanted to marry any of them. And some of them wanted to marry me, but I knew I didn't want a future with them. So I didn't do anything with them. I didn't have their child. I ran away from them, most likely. You know, I was like, okay, this is getting really serious. I don't really want to be here long term, so I'm gonna go away. And so then to the point where it's like, okay, now I found someone I really want to be with. The only reason why she's gonna be a baby mama is because she doesn't want that man to go away. That's the real reason. She feels a connection.
Well,
She
that's
wants to
not
keep
what
this
happened to
connection
me.
going,
But, okay.
because marriage is easier. This is the thing that people are not thinking. Marriage is easier than raising a child. Being married, like, I think anybody who thinks different is not actually thinking, because if it's nothing to do with exclusivity and stuff like that. Marriage is a partnership. Raising a child is taking a child through the stages of life. And if you only got to stage 14 or 16, how can you raise a child? You haven't even been through the rest of the stages. If you only got to stage 20, how could you raise a child? You, like, think about it. It's like you got to raise a whole human being and make sure they don't end up a psychopath and crazy and killing anybody. You got to raise a decent human being. That is the hardest thing to do than being married
especially
to
in
somebody.
the world of
Being married
full
to
of
somebody. So
corruption.
that's basically saying, like, you can't be loyal. You're not a loyal person. Because if marriage is harder than having a baby, then you're not loyal. And you shouldn't be with anybody. And nobody should trust you because you're not a loyal person. You can't stay down. That's basically what is being said. King says most baby mamas try their best to be in the good books of their baby's fathers. They hope the relationship will lead to marriage, and that hope keeps them on their best behavior. When people are seeking for something, they tend to be nicer than the people who got them easily. Yeah. And that's why they will stay baby mamas for the rest of their lives.
Because
ahead,
at the
Kat.
end of the day, men usually like women who play hard to get and stuff like that. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
So you playing
Right.
nice with them, they know that you, like, literally, he just read
Yeah.
a baby mama who's just probably personally doing that right now. It doesn't work.
Right.
They know you're playing
It doesn't
nice
work.
because you want something from them. And so, like,
Men
when you
actually react better when you take things away from them and says, I'm
that's
not
what I
going to do
said.
this until
And
you do
at
this,
the end
like
of the
you
day,
said.
kick him
So
out.
the whole thing is
right. Throw
is
him all
working
away.
against her by
He's
doing
going to
that.
step up some way, somehow. Like, when you don't deal with him and he doesn't hear from you, you haven't texted him, you're not involved at all. Guess what he's doing? He's blowing you up. He's thinking,
And you
he's
won't
making
have his
stories in
baby.
his head.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, I want to, and he keeps on asking you, I want you to have my baby. And you're like, oh, I'm not having your baby. I'm not married to you. He's going to want you more. Like, that's the whole thing. Is like, if you're the one who's saying, okay, yeah, I'll have your baby, he's not going to give a fuck about you. He's not going to care nothing about you.
Right. But there's some women who's out
nothing.
there who plays that
how
same
many
game.
how many baby
Okay.
I mean, how many baby mamas can we see that said that show? I mean, Future said it. They was like, why you didn't marry none of your baby mom? Oh, I can't marry none of them because the other one's gonna be mad why I don't marry her. And this is going this. Baby mamas just fight against each other. They're never gonna marry the guy. They're never gonna get the guy. The one who's gonna get the guy is the one who's not gonna give him a baby without marriage. Look at Jeezy. He sat there, he got other babies, and who did he wait for? The girl who he married, and then he's gonna sit there and be a whole good father to that child.
Right. That's
the messed up part of it.
How's it messed up?
Because the woman doesn't get it.
Yeah.
King says, so when a baby mama dies first before the baby daddy, where would she be buried? And then which family would take custody of the kids? You already know that. Where would she
The
be
system.
buried? Wherever she want to
Nope,
be
you don't
married.
even
And
care. You don't even care about that. He don't even care about that. He ain't never gonna see her burial, and then he
and
rarely
the
gonna see the
kid,
kid
you
because
know
the kid
that
is
kid's gonna
go
go
to
to
the
custody
family of her.
to the family of her family. It's not going to the baby
They
daddy,
ain't
because if
giving
he
it to
wasn't
your baby
responsible in the
daddy.
beginning, it's
Right.
not happening.
Especially if he's
And
on
that's
child
the
support already.
situation. That's the
No.
situation. He's never gonna. If he really was, he would have never been a baby daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And even if
Over
he
there
wasn't with
asking
the
where she
woman,
gonna
he
be
would have never
buried.
been a baby daddy. He would have been a father. He would have never been a baby. That's the difference. It's like, it's not about, even if he's not with the woman, if he's sitting there being a baby daddy, he ain't gonna take care of the kid.
He don't want no
He needs to
part.
be a father. A father.
Throw the
If he
whole
was a
word
father,
away, baby daddy.
he
The
would
baby
be
10 years
the
old.
responsible one. But he's not a father. He's a baby daddy. He's still a baby. He's a baby daddy.
Know that baby
Y'all
boy.
know the
This
difference.
is that whole baby boy
Yep.
vibe. Like,
it's a baby boy situation. It's sad. It's sad and it's pathetic and it lacks manhood, and we're not
Black
doing
men,
that.
stop having children. Seriously. And black women, stop having
Just
children
stop.
by black men. Because especially the black men, because there is men that step up and they're black, obviously. But watching this video, hearing some people on this podcast who write, these guys ain't stepping nothing up. Stop having babies by them. They don't want
have
the baby.
no
They don't
yeah
want the baby. At
just
the end of the day,
don't deal with men who don't have careers and homes and loves you and wants to be with you, and you're not going to give him a baby before he proves that he wants to be with you.
Yes.
Let's
done
start
everything
there.
that you,
because
first of all, you've experienced everything that you wanted to experience, dating somebody, being engaged to somebody, being married to them. You experienced that whole life of somebody appreciating you, who you are, instead of him, you appreciating him and you doing everything like that girl who wanted to go get her father's cigar and have her mom put her 2 cents
that was
in
last
and
week's
wrap
show.
it up. I'm trying to explain to you. Yeah, like this is some of the women who's giving
just
people
so
advice,
he
like,
could think he's a prize, right? And it's
he's
like,
not the prize, and he knows he's not the prize. He knows that he has to chase you. What men don't like, I don't like a woman who likes to chase me. I like to chase her. So stop chasing them. Leave them alone and allow a man to chase you.
Don't let mainstream change women,
Social
you
media
women,
is
to
fake.
think that you have to be the man, and don't look at mainstream to think that you're the one who needs to be chasing the man. Don't look to mainstream thinking that you're obsessed with sex just as much as he is. I don't care what your favorite rom-com movie said, that you like no strings attached. You ain't that type of person. Be honest with yourself and honest with what you want. If that guy isn't giving you what you truly desire, that you know deep inside that is going to make you happy, don't make any permanent decisions with him. And honestly, if he does not have his own home, and I'm not talking about roommating, I'm talking about he lives alone with himself, he's paying all the bills, and he has an actual career. I mean, he's not just still trying to figure out jumping from job to job. Then you don't need to be dealing with him, ladies, especially if you already got a kid, or especially if you're at a certain age. Just, if you're out of university, you shouldn't be dating with anybody who doesn't have their own. And you shouldn't be, and if you are in university and you're at the beginning of your life, you shouldn't even be thinking about having kids, because you don't even know where you want to live, let alone
explore your
who
life,
you want to be,
travel, do everything that, like, these men are not that important. I think women forget to be themselves,
because your life stops.
So quickly.
Your life stops so you can raise these children. So you're literally,
it's
if you
unfair.
say, hey, I'm 20, I'm doing this now, I'm gonna have a kid, you basically stopped your life right there, and now you're starting back at that stage one with another child, and you're gonna have to figure out everything. So it's just not worth it.
It's just not
worth
fair.
it.
It's just not fair.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
especially to do it alone.
Exactly. I was lucky enough to have support, but then as I grew up and had, like, a conscious mind, I said, you know what? I don't want them to have responsibility, and I have to go to work, I have to go to school, and then ask somebody to watch my child or get a babysitter, all these things, and just like, no. I said, you know what? I'm going to move to California and take full responsibility for my child. I'm not going to have my mother, her grandparents, her father, like, those people will come and show me that they want to be involved. I'm taking full responsibility in my life. This is the thing. When you have all those support system, your man, he stay at home, whatever, he's there, he's doing a little bit of this and that, doing that. You have to grow up and understand who you are as an individual, as a woman, and understand, is this the life I want? I know that I wasn't thinking when I created this life, but now that I'm got my conscious mind, I'm aware of what's going on. I'm aware this is a dusty. I'm aware that I don't like living here. I'm aware of everything. I'm going to make the conscious decision to take full responsibility, since if anybody else doesn't want to take it, I'll take it upon myself and then create a beautiful life for myself and my child. It's never an ending when you have a child, but it does hinder you from exploring life a little bit more easier when you don't have the full responsibility of a child or a pet. Like, that is, it's a huge responsibility. You can't go out on dates. You have to go on early, like certain things, like you can't do if you're a mother. You got to leave early.
Right.
You got to make sure you got to go get your kid. Oh my God, that person has a doctor's appointment. The kid is acting up. Oh, the kid's sick. It's just so much. Did no one think that this was going to happen?
Right.
They just thought it was going to be a cute little teddy bear. Like, no, this thing poops, talks,
King
gets
says,
sick. Go ahead.
Yeah, King had asked if single mothers are whores, which no, and that's a horrible thing to say. Single mothers are just what they are, single mothers, and whores get paid, and
yes.
so that's
and
a
they don't want to
completely
become
different
single
thing.
mothers.
And
Whores
they
usually become they find an older gentleman.
I mean, those are two
to
different
take
things.
responsibility.
There are two different things. There's one you're talking about, like, are they getting paid? Like, I don't know. Those are two different things that has nothing to do with it. I mean, a woman could become a single mother because she was married to someone and then they broke up and got a divorce, and now she's a single mom. So no,
a lot of things happen.
I think that's very disrespectful to even say that, because
this is the black man.
Women themselves
kind of
are come on. Let's not do that. And if we're gonna say that, then we're gonna say it in the context of you are you paying? Okay, because it's never gonna be for free.
Paid.
Okay, to be with men, then I would hope so. Like that's basically what you're asking me. Are single mothers getting paid to be with men? And I mean, like I said.
But
and
there's better
for her,
ways of
that
content,
is what she's
sir.
doing. But that's and that's the thing. Men will try to say things like that to thing, but it's be responsible with your penis, because you are the only thing that can actually activate the egg. It's you doing that. So you got to make sure as a man that you're not making single mothers or baby mamas. How about that?
Right.
Okay. But thank you, King, because we appreciate all your comments this evening. I know you wasn't saying that, to be mean to anybody, but I do, take that as being something weird to say. But okay, we've been on here for about 2 hours, almost 2 hours. Don't want to be here all night, but I really did enjoy this conversation. And, thank you for having it, being open and telling your story even, because I think it's important that we just explore these topics and really see, like, what is it that we are doing to ourselves as a collective, as a culture, and really, like, is this really the life that we want? I wish you guys would have called in. I wish more women were on here so we could have had that discussion with more women.
I think a lot of our listeners, some of them are not afraid, but they're more listeners, and maybe they feel it in their heart, but they're not strong enough right now to admit that this is what they're experiencing. And so I understand,
or this is what they may agree with or not agree with.
And this may be hard for them to want to even learn how to get out. Like, it's pretty tough on you know, how they're feeling. But, you know, closed mouths don't
Right.
get fed. So if you don't speak up, then you will continue to experience what you experience. I remember me and Isabel was going through something where, you know, we talked about how when you work with someone and you let someone know what's going on, you need an accountability partner. And so sometimes it helps to overcome certain situations when you keep it real with somebody. So you may
Right.
not have the confidence to keep it real with the man that you're dealing with, but you may have confidence to speak to somebody like a therapist, somebody, you know, a
Right.
friend, somebody. So speak up, because how long are you going to deal with, you know, the situation is so easily you can overcome it. But a lot of, I know we're going to move on and close the night, but a lot of men they'll listen to on podcasts, or men who want to speak for women and say like, oh, you're baby mama, so you're not going to be able to find love, like men don't want to date women who have kids, blah blah blah
That's
blah
a
blah.
lie.
It's all a lie. So
Real
don't try to
men
act,
don't care about
don't try
that.
to stay in a relationship, don't try to stay in a relationship because you think that, oh, men are not going to accept me, I have a child.
Mhm.
There's men that take little kids, like, you know, like if you have babies, they're like, I don't care, I just love you. And that's all you
Mhm.
wanted. You wanted somebody who cared about you the whole time. It wasn't about
Right.
like your children. And sometimes you don't even got to talk
Or
about your kids.
anything about
Don't
you,
even talk
like,
about your kids. Don't talk about your
yeah.
kids until you feel like that person's serious. And then if they're
Mhm.
serious and you're like, well, you know, and sometimes you'll be surprised they don't even ask you if you have any kids, because they're so into
Right.
your conversation, into you, and that they forgot to ask you if you ever been married, if you have kids, because they're just so into you. And I know
Right.
that's a big part of you, but they didn't even care, because that's not their business. So don't
Okay,
think because
guys.
you have a child, you can't move on. It's a lie. That's it.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, follow, and subscribe all our social medias, because we
Yes.
really love your support. Again, follow us on Instagram at Nothing's Wrong Podcast, and we will give you a follow right back. And if you do want to donate to the show with monetary values, you can always hit up the Cash App at $ Nothing's Wrong Pod. It's going down the screen so you guys can catch that. And you can always watch the replay on Facebook or YouTube. We're always here for you. And we will see you guys next week with another topic that I'm sure we're going to get all into it. So make sure you're here next week at 7. And always remember,
Nothing's
nothing's
wrong.
wrong. Bye, guys.
Nice seeing you guys. See you next time.
Oh, that's hot.